Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We Scout team welcome you to Islamic English School. Scout salute. Mim ala ra, ra ala ha, ha ala ba. Marhab, marhab, marhab.
Assalamu alaikum. We welcome you to Islamic English School. Scout salute. Mim ala ra, ra ala ha, ha ala ba. Marhab, marhab, marhab.
Good morning and Assalamu alaikum. We extend a heartfelt welcome to our chief guest of this event and our chairperson, Madam Khadija Darwish bin Karam. Esteemed principals, Dr. D. Omar, our dignitaries, teachers, and all our wonderful parents. I am Ibrahim Zamal, and I am Muhammad Farid, and will be hosting today's event.
It gives us immense pleasure to welcome you all to this grand event, the Declamation Contest 2025-2026, celebrating not only the power of speech, but also the spirit of expression. Let us begin this auspicious day by rising with pride and honor for our beloved nation as we sing the national anthem. Please stand straight and join us in showing our respect.
عيشي بلادي عاش اتحاد إماراتنا عشقي لشعب دينه الإسلام حكي القرآن حصنتك بسم الله يا وطن بلادي 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 حماك الإله والشهور الزمان قسمت أني نعمل نخلص مهما عشنا نخلص دام الأمان وعاش العلم يا إماراتنا رمز العروبة كلها نفديك بنت ونويك نفديك بالأرواح يا وطن.
Thank you, everyone, and please be seated.
To seek blessings for a successful and meaningful program, let's begin with the recitation of the Holy Quran. Let's welcome Ayan Malik to recite a few verses followed by a meaningful translation.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الرحمن علم القرآن خلق الإنسان علمه البيان الشمس والقمر بحسبان والنجم والشجر يسجدان والسماء رفعها ووضع الميزان ألا تطغوا في الميزان وأقيموا الوزن بالقسط ولا تخسروا الميزان والأرض وضعها للأنام فيها فاكهة والنخل ذات الأكمام والحب ذو العصف والريحان فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان صدق الله العظيم. The most merciful taught the Quran, created man, and taught him eloquence. The sun and the moon move by precise calculation, and the stars and trees prostrate. And the heaven he raised and imposed the balance, that you not transgress within the balance, and establish weight in justice, and do not make deficient the balance. And the earth he laid out for the creatures. Therein is fruit and palm trees, having sheets of dates, and grain having husks and scented plants. So which of the favors of your Lord would you deny?
Jazakallah khair. Now, as every competition needs wise and fair evaluation, it's time for the selection of the judges.
Exactly. Let's see who among our esteemed guests will take the honorable seat of judgment today.
Miss Indu Nair, Private International School. Miss Jayati Chatterjee from Shining Star International School. Miss Dhanya Unnikrishnan from Sunrise English Private School.
Now we request our judges to please take their places. Thank you.
As every successful institution stands tall because of a visionary leader who inspires, guides, and nurtures it with wisdom and grace, with deep respect, we now request our esteemed principal to kindly come forward and deliver the welcome address.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. My Lord, grant us wisdom, join us with the righteous, give us a good name among the later generations, and make us among those blessed with the garden of bliss. Honorable Chairperson of Islamic English School and today's guest of honor, Madam Khatija Darwesh bin Karam al-Kubesi. Madam Khatija is held up in a high-level meeting. She sent a message that she will be joining at the earliest, inshallah. Our beloved brother and management consultant, Mr. Khalid al-Kubesi, respected mentors and speakers from the participating schools, my dear colleagues, distinguished guests, and my lovely, lovely students, Assalamu alaikum, and a very good morning to all. On behalf of the management, staff, and students of Islamic English School, I extend a warm welcome to the 8th Inter-School Declamation Contest and express our heartfelt gratitude to our chairperson, Madam Khatija, for gracing this occasion with her esteemed presence. Madam Khatija needs no introduction. She is not only well known among the parents and students of IES, but also a respected name in the educational fraternity. We often feel that we are living in a beautiful dream under leadership. Then we realize this is not a dream, but a revolution. Islamic English School has been undergoing a remarkable transformation ever since Madam Khatija assumed her role. It would not be an exaggeration to say she is the architect of modern Islamia. A true philanthropist, she has been deeply involved in various charitable initiatives, including Humayt Charity. At Islamia, we not only focus academic excellence, but also on nurturing our students to become good Muslims and responsible global citizens. Teamwork, communication, collaboration, critical thinking, creativity, leadership, global awareness, honesty, integrity, these are not just educational buzzwords, but values deeply embedded in our school ethos. For nearly 5 decades, Islamia has been the pioneer in promoting these competencies and core values through numerous intra and inter-school competitions across UAE. We are proud to announce that the celebration of Golden Jubilee have officially begun as IES marks 50 glorious years in 2028. Founded in 1978 by late Darvesh bin Karam, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless his soul, Islamic English School was established to provide a quality education at an affordable cost to the expatriate community on a special note. Since then, thousands of students and staff have been benefited from this noble vision, a legacy that continues today under the dynamic leadership of Madam Khadija Darvesh. I humbly request everyone present here to offer a standing ovation in honor of the late Darvesh bin Karam. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless his soul and our respected Madam Khadija Darvesh. A big round of applause, standing ovation, please. Thank you. Today, young speakers from 11 participating schools are here to enlighten us with thought-provoking speeches on diverse and engaging topics. Wishing them all great success, and without further delay, I warmly welcome you all to witness the intellectual celebration, the Battle of Wizards. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah.
Thank you, sir, for your encouraging words. Now, before we begin, let's briefly go over the rules of declamation.
In declamation, participants deliver speeches with emotion and expression as if they are the original speaker. The focus is on delivery, clarity, confidence, and connection with your audience.
As it said, it's not the words you speak, but the fire behind them that moves people. So contestants, let your passion shine through. Number 1, the contest will comprise of only one round. Number 2, participants should avoid reading from any prepared script, any paper or aid. Number 3, each speaker will be given 5 minutes. At the end of the 4th minute, a warning bell will be given and a final bell at the end of the 5th minute. The speaker exceeding the time limit will be penalized. Number 4, the speaker will address the chair only. Unparliamentary language should not be used. No personal comments or observations should be made against any religion, caste, community, political party, or individual. The matter should be limited to the topic only.
A speaker making offensive remarks about any important personage or passing controversial, religious, political, or sectarian marks shall be immediately disqualified. Using words or sentences with any indecent connotation and passing derogatory remarks against the chair will lead to an instant disqualification of the speaker. In such an event, the speaker will be asked to step down from the podium during their speech. The speaker will be adjudged based on appropriate gesture, style, oratory, emotions, content, language, pronunciation, and presentation. Number 7, decision of the jury will be final and binding. No arguments. Understood?
Our young orators are ready to inspire, move, and impress us with their speeches. So, is everyone ready for the junior category?
Now for the moment we've all been waiting for, let's start this competition with the junior category.
Let's start this contest off with the topics from the junior category. Number 1, the moral dilemma of technology. Is convenience eroding our sense of ethics? Number 2, those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it. Number 3, the climate crisis, a ticking time bomb for future generations.
To begin the contest, we have Rayan Hafiz from Private International English School with the topic, the climate crisis, a ticking time bomb for future generations.
A very good morning to all of you. Before I start everything, I'd like to ask a serious question. Is climate change really as big of a deal as people say it is? Well, I'm Rayan Hafiz, and today I'm here to find that out, take you through the facts, the dangers, and possibly in some of the solutions. To start off, let's see where this problem really started. So, let's take a look back and see where this problem really started. Back in the 1950s, scientists began closely measuring carbon dioxide levels in the atmosphere. This was shown through something called the Keeling curve, which started in 1958. Around that same time, scientists began linking human activities such as burning of fossil fuels like coal, gas, and oil to global warming. By the 70s, people began talking more seriously about this topic. In the 1972 United Nations Conference on Human Environment was the first major discussion regarding this topic, leading to the birth of the United Nations Environment Program. Then in 1988, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change was formed to provide scientific research on climate change. By 1992, the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change was formed, pushing countries to take action. Then in 1997, the Kyoto Protocol, the first legally binding agreement to cut emissions. And in 2015, the Paris Agreement was signed by nearly 200 countries, aiming to keep global temperatures below 2 degrees Celsius. Now, let's see what's been happening since then. The global average temperatures have increased by about 1.4 degrees Celsius before the pre-industrial age. The period between 2015 and 2024 was the warmest ever recorded, with 2024 being the warmest year on record. And the carbon dioxide levels have reached 421 parts per million, which is more than 50% higher than the pre-industrial ages. Another major issue is ice loss and rising sea levels. Between 2015 to 2024, glaciers have thinned by about 1 meter per year. And Antarctica and Greenland have lost about 38% more ice in this decade than the previous decade. The sea levels are also rising by about 4.7 millimeters per year. Now, let's talk a little bit more about this ice loss issue, because it's not just about losing pretty icebergs. First off, the most immediate cause will be rising sea levels. As ice melts, the meltwater will flow into the ocean, raising the sea levels. This could negatively affect coastal areas like ours here in the United Arab Emirates. This could cause mass flooding, erosion, and mass migration in the future. Second problem, this will heat up the planet even more. As ice and snow have high albedo, meaning that they reflect the sun's energy back into outer space. But as we lose more ice, the darker ocean and land get exposed, absorbing the sunlight. And lastly, Antarctica is known as a frozen time capsule. You may be wondering why. It's simply because Antarctica's ice stores ancient air bubbles and microbes, which predate to about over 1,000 years ago. Now, if released, there's a chance that these microbes could negatively affect the environment and our human health. But not all hope is lost, as the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals include SDG 13, climate action, which specifically tackle this very issue. Other SDGs, like SDG 7, affordable and clean energy, SDG 14, life below water, and SDG 15, life above land, also tackle this issue. We have also come up with several solutions, such as using electrical vehicles for transport, reforestation or planting more trees, and using renewable energy sources like solar, wind, and hydroelectricity. To sum it all up, climate change is real. It's happening, it's affecting all of us. But if we come together, make the smart choices, and stay committed, we could protect this planet and keep it safer for the future generations. Because our planet's not just a rock floating in outer space. It's our home, and our only home. Thank you.
Wonderful. Moving on, we have Muhammad Waleed Jawed from Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed Arab Pakistan School with the topic, Those Who Cannot Remember the Past Are Condemned to Repeat It.
Those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it. Are these mere words or a warning carved in the stone of time? The philosopher George Santayana once spoke them, his voice echoing through the centuries, and yet ignored by so many who thought themselves wiser than history. We humans have an odd confidence. We believe that progress makes us immune to the mistakes of those before us, but history, my friends, is a patient teacher. It waits quietly until arrogance blinds us again, and then it repeats its lesson in pain. Nelson Mandela once said, "Forget the past and you rob the future. Forget the lessons of history and you risk repeating its mistakes." Let me take you back, not to the battlefields of great wars, not to the political revolutions we so often quote, but to a silent enemy unleashed on April 26, 1986, in a small Ukrainian town called Chernobyl. A routine safety test went wrong, not out of malice, but out of overconfidence and pride. And in a flash, a nuclear reactor exploded, turning the night into a radioactive dawn. An error does not become a mistake until you refuse to correct it. John F. Kennedy once said, at Chernobyl, humanity refused to correct it, refused to believe it could happen. The past had shown time and again that pride precedes destruction. Yet, we forgot. Thousands were displaced. Forests glowed with deadly dust. Generations later, the soil still whispers of our folly. And yet, in our modern world, where technology races faster than wisdom, we stand at the edge of a new Chernobyl every day. Not in nuclear reactors, perhaps, but in the data we mishandle, the climate we exploit, the warnings we ignore. History is not a museum to visit once in a while. It is a mirror, sometimes kind, often cruel. And every reflection it offers asks the same question. Have we learned? The great writer Mark Twain once said, history does not repeat itself, but it often rhymes. If that's true, then our present is a mournful rhyme, one written in the same ink of denial, pride, and forgetfulness. And maybe that is our tragedy, that even with all our knowledge, all our progress, all our warnings carved into the runes of yesterday, we still forget. We still close our eyes to the lessons that once cost humanity everything. Because forgetting does not erase the past, does it? Respected judges, it only buries it alive, waiting to return when we least expect it. And when it does, the world will wonder once again how we did not see it coming. In the shattered verses of T.S. Eliot's The Wasteland, we hear the same echo. A civilization proud of its progress, yet blind to its decay. The poet gathers the broken pieces of memory, fragments shored against ruins, pleading with us to remember what was lost. For when we forget the cries of the past, we wander once again through the wasteland, repeating, reliving, and rebuilding the ruins we never learned from. What are the roots that clutch? What branches grow out of this stony rubbish? Son of man, you cannot say or guess, for you know only a heap of broken images.
Moving on, now we have Anushka Sinu from Sunrise English Private School with the topic, A Climate Crisis, a Ticking Time Bomb for Future Generations.
We are the first generation to feel the impact of climate change and the last generation that can do something about it. Good morning, respected judges, fellow participants, and everybody present here. I, Anushka Sinu, am here today not to speak as an environmentalist, but as a member of a generation that might inherit a planet at the brink of collapse. The climate change is no longer a distant threat. It is the present reality, and it is accelerating. We have watched the news, read the reports, and yet this crisis grows day by day. Rising sea levels are swallowing coastlines. Once fertile lands are drying into deserts. Entire communities are being displaced, with countless of species disappearing every year. Forests are turning into ashes, like the Australian bushfire in 2020, devastating thousands of lives. Clock is ticking, and each passing second brings us closer to irreversible damage. For decades, humanity has taken back nature without giving back. The earth, believing that the earth will endlessly recover. But the evidence of our overconsumption is too undeniable and growing. Every storm, every drought, every wildlife is a proof that nature's patience has its limits. This is not called as progress. This is destruction disguised as development. The question we must ask ourselves is simple. What will we remain? Will we remain destruction or hope? Will we be remembered as a generation that had the courage to act, or the generation who ignored every warning? We must recognize that responsibilities does not only lie within the world leaders or corporations. It lies with each and every one of us. For every plastic bottle we refuse, every watt of energy we save, every trees we plant, we help our environment. We help our nature. We help the earth. Changes are not born from speeches or promises. It begins with choices. We have inherited a ticking time bomb, only we hold the power to defuse it. So today, I stand before you not to spread fear, but to awaken responsibility. This is our world and this is our fight. The time for excuses is over. It's the time for action. Thank you.
Dale Carnegie once said, "Only the prepared speaker deserves to be confident." Onwards, we have Naisha Hitesh Savana from GEMS United Indian School with the topic, "The Climate Crisis, a Ticking Time Bomb for Future Generations."
Close your eyes. Imagine yourself making a volcano project in school. You're mixing baking soda and vinegar, watching it bubble and erupt. Everyone's cheering, laughing. It's all fun and harmless. It's just science. Now, open your eyes. That heat, it is no longer coming from the model anymore. It is coming from the ground that we stand on. We are the ones inside the volcano, where the temperature is just like the one in the real volcano. That does not sound fun, does it? It feels more like a dread, a reality we all are living in. You all must have probably heard about the climate crisis. It is no longer a quiet caution shared by scientists. It has become a deafening siren echoing across the globe. From scorching heat waves and melting glaciers to coastlines slowly disappearing beneath the rising sea, our planet is crying out for help. And the harshest reality is this, that those who will bear the greatest burden are the ones least responsible, our future generations. We are not just depleting resources, we are racing against time. This crisis is a ticking time bomb, and whether it detonates or is diffused depends entirely on the choices we make today. Good morning, respected judges and everyone present here. I am Naisha Suvarna, and this is my call to action. So just this past summer, I visited Kashmir, a region once celebrated for its cool breezes and snow-capped mountains. But to my surprise, I experienced record-shattering temperatures that rose to above 37.5 degrees Celsius. What followed was a severe heat wave that triggered water shortages, rampant wildfires, and local hardships unimaginable in those areas. And the driving force behind it all? Climate change. By definition, climate change is a change in global or regional climate patterns. But in reality, it's just us humans burning down forests, cutting chunks of the planet, and polluting it. It is us who are causing the severe fever to the earth. Scientists say that the global temperatures have risen by 1.1 degrees Celsius over the past centuries. But these numbers, they might feel abstract at a point. However, standing by the melting rivers and barren lands, I could feel the crisis in my hands, in my nerves, and deep in my heart. How many of you have seen a place that you loved change like that? Maybe a park, a garden, or a lake. I remember visiting the North Germany floodplain meadows a few years ago. It was as if the place was alive. The green grass, the sparkling stream, and the echoes of the kids playing, it was all in harmony. And now, when I returned, the grass was cut, the stream was dry, it was all gone. This is the harsh reality of climate change, and this contrast is undeniable. It's not just us humans who feel it. The crops wither in summer, the animals struggle to survive, and the birds lose their home. No being can escape this terror. Yet, there is a speck of hope. Hope to save the planet and its people. We don't need to start big. We can start small and eventually let it ripple outwards. So yes, the clock is ticking, but it hasn't struck midnight yet. The real question is, what do we choose to the time we have left? What do we do? What do we do? That's the real question. Thank you.
Proceeding, we have Sayyida Iman Fatima from Islamia English School with the topic, those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it.
The warning signs were all here. The blueprints for disaster were written down in detail. This is the weight of history we refuse to lift. Good morning, one and all. My today's topic is those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it again. These words echo through time like a solemn warning, a reminder that history is not merely what was, but what can be again if you refuse to learn. History, my friends, is a strict teacher, and when humanity fails the test, the punishments is severe. After the First World War, nations lay in ruins. Millions had perished, and the world vowed never again. Yet just 20 years later, the same hatred, greed, pride plunged the world into World War II. Why? Because we forgot. We forgot the pain, the promises, the price of arrogance. And so, we repeated the very same mistakes. The story doesn't end here. The mighty Roman Empire fell, not by the sword of an enemy, but by its own corruption and complacency. And today, though we call ourselves modern and wise, we are repeating yet another tragic chapter, the story of climate destruction. Ancient civilizations like Mayans and Mesopotamians vanished when they destroyed their own environment. And now we too cut forests, poison oceans, and silence nature's warnings. History still whispers, but few are listening. Yet, amid these lessons of failure, there are also lessons of hope, examples of those who remembered the past and used it to build a better future. Look at the United Arab Emirates, a nation that remembered the past and used it to build a better future. Just a few decades ago, this land was a humble desert, but under the wise leadership of Sheikh Zayed bin Sultan Al Nahyan, the UAE remembered its history, not to stay in the past, but to rise from it. Sheikh Zayed learned the struggles of earlier generation and built a nation on unity, tolerance, and foresight. He transformed lessons of limitations into a legacy of limitless possibilities. And today, the UAE reaches the stars literally through its Mars mission. It does so with the modesty of a nation that remembered where it all began. My friends, remembering the past doesn't chain us, it guides us. Forgetting it is not freedom, it is folly. When we study the past, we don't just learn about kings and wars, we learn about ourselves. We learn that hatred destroys, that greed blinds, and that compassion heals. The past is not an anchor, it is a compass. So let us not walk blindly into tomorrow. Let us remember and let that remembrance light our path forward. For as Winston Churchill once said, those that fail to learn from history are doomed to repeat it. Thank you.
A wise man speaks because he has something to say. A fool speaks because he has to say something. By Plato. Next, we have Ara Inaya Shahir from Dunes International School with the topic, Those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it.
Have you ever made the same mistake twice or even thrice and wondered why? Greetings and sincere salutations. I am Ara Inaya, and today I'd like to talk about a powerful truth. Those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it until it is faced. There's a wise saying, those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it. What does this mean? It's simple. This assertion refers to individuals, groups, and communities that continually repeat the same mistake because they do not learn from past experiences. This indicates a complete lack of awareness concerning previous events, including their consequences and the mistakes made. Today, I'd like to discuss an expanded version of this quote. Those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it until it is faced. The addition, until it is faced, adds a layer of meaning, suggesting that the repetition continues until the mistakes and truths of the past are directly confronted and acknowledged. Let me break it down further with my personal experience. I was in an indoor play area having fun with my family when disaster struck. I jumped from a height into the ball pit and ended up injuring my foot, which left me in a cast. After reflecting on what happened, I realized the importance of taking responsibility for my actions. Step 1. Reflect on what happened and ask myself what mistake I made. Step 2. Be honest by accepting that I made a mistake without blaming anyone else and that I want to fix it. Step 3. Understand why it happened. Was it because I was in a rush? Step 4. Think of a better way. What can I do differently next time? I need to lay out a plan to avoid making the same mistake. Step 5. Try again. I should not be afraid. Life is not always easy. Finally, don't hesitate to ask for help if needed. Talk to a parent, friend, or elder. Learning is easier when you're not alone. This doesn't just apply to individuals. It extends to our neighborhood, society, and history as well, where people have made mistakes. Let us explore various examples. A parent's journey in raising a child is a profound experience marked by emotional, psychological, and relational growth. It evolves from being a caregiver to a nurturer and guide. Common mistakes parents make include yelling or using harsh discipline, setting inconsistent boundaries, disregarding their child's emotional needs, and being overly protective. These behaviors can hinder a child's independence. However, many parents eventually recognize these issues and adjust their approach by encouraging autonomy and resilience. The transition from a cook to a master chef presents a steep learning curve. It's not just about mastering recipes. It requires creativity, leadership, and strategic thinking. Many aspiring chefs stumble by focusing solely on cooking skills while neglecting the broader demands of culinary excellence. Similarly, the transition from a medical student to doctor presents a steep learning curve, with common mistakes arising from both clinical inexperience and personal development gaps. If we learn from these mistakes, we can do better in the present. When we forget the causes of conflict, we leave the door open to repeating them. That's why our past matters. That's why personal reflection is important. Remembering the past isn't just about old stories or history books. It's about confronting and acknowledging our mistakes while making better choices. This process helps us become more intelligent, compassionate, and resilient. In conclusion, mistakes aren't bad, they're lessons in disguise. The key is to remember them, face them, and grow from them. Thank you.
Moving on, we have Amay Singh Kanwar from Bright Rider School, Abu Dhabi, with the topic, Those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it.
Good morning, respected judges, teachers, fellow contestants, and my dear friends. Today I stand before you not just to speak, but to awaken us to the chilling truth behind George Santayana's words. Those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it. However, before I begin, let me take you to a small journey in my past. Not again. The alarm blared, beep, 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 like a siren warning of disaster. I groaned, buried my face in the pillow, and slammed the snooze button like it was my sworn enemy. Just 5 more minutes, I whispered. Just 5. But 5 became 10. 10 became 15, and 15 became panic. I jumped out of bed like I'd been launched from a cannon. My socks didn't match. My homework was still on the dining table. I grabbed my bag, skipped breakfast, and sprinted for the bus stop. Heart pounding, breath short, only to see the bus turn a corner and vanish into a cloud of dust. Gone. Again. I stood there defeated. My parents had warned me. My teachers had scolded me. You need to change your routine, they said. You'll miss out. But I didn't listen. I didn't learn. And then one morning, standing alone at that same stop, I whispered to myself, why does this keep happening to me? That moment, that question was the beginning of change. Because until we ask why, we never learn. Until we reflect, we never grow. History is like a mirror that reflects both our triumphs and our tragedies, relating it to mankind's brightest jewel today. Artificial intelligence. We marvel at its brilliance, its speed, its power, its efficiency, but we forget the ethical battles we've already fought. We're chasing advancement without asking at what cost. I emphasize, at what cost? Let's take cyberbullying, for example. In 2025 alone, over 36% of teenagers and 42% of young adults worldwide reported being victims of online harassment. This isn't just data, it's devastation. We all knew the dangers of bullying, the tears, the trauma, the silence. But instead of stopping it, we let it evolve. Now it hides behind screens, usernames and emojis, striking with anonymity and precision. Let's talk about climate crisis. On one side, there are countries that ignored the learnings and warnings of history and are now facing extreme environmental challenges like droughts, floods, and environmental mismanagement. But on the other side stands the United Arab Emirates, a country that receives less than 100 millimeters of rainfall annually, where groundwater is vanishing and desalination is costly. Yet instead of waiting for crisis, the UAE chose clarity over complacency. Under the visionary leadership of Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, the UAE initiated the Water Security Strategy 2036, aiming to reduce water's demand by 21% and increase water's productivity. This is the power of remembering, as some choose to repeat history and some rewrite it. I repeat, some rewrite it. So before I end my speech today, I would like to pose a question to each one of you. Will you be like me, missing the bus time and again? Or will you be someone who turned memory into strength? Because as Maya Angelou once said, history, despite its wrenching pain, cannot be unlived, but if faced with courage and resilience, need not be lived again. Thank you.
To repeat another quote from Maya Angelou, I've learned that people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. Proceeding, we have Rishan Kuruvilla George from Ryan International School with the topic, A Climate Crisis, a Ticking Time Bomb for Future Generations.
Good morning, respected judges, teachers, and my dear friends. I'm Rishan, standing before you today to present the topic, the climate crisis. The climate time bomb is ticking. The climate crisis is one of the most pervasive and threatening issues facing the world today, with far-reaching and potentially irreversible impacts. Recent decades has been among the hottest ever, and sea level rise is accelerating at a record rate. The rate of temperature rise in the last half century is the highest in 2,000 years. Concentrations of carbon dioxide are at their highest in at least 2 million years. Indeed, the climate time bomb is ticking. In 2025, several regions experienced severe heat waves with notable events occurring in Europe, Middle East, Asia, and North America. Middle East experienced a hellish heat wave in mid-August, with regions seeing the hottest nights on record. The highest temperature in 2025 was recorded in Mitrba, Kuwait, reaching 54 degrees Celsius. Major flood disasters in Asia and the United States of America have brought heavy casualties and economic losses, highlighting the dangers and challenges in ensuring that early climate warnings reach those who need them. Flash floods are not new, but their intensity and frequency are increasing due to rapidly changing climate. Rising temperature play a role because each additional degree Celsius of temperature increase allows the atmosphere to hold 7% more water vapor according to the law of thermodynamics. This is increasing the risk of more extreme rainfall events. At the same time, glacier-related flood hazards are increasing due to enhanced ice melting in a warmer climate. Severe forest fires occurred globally in 2025, including devastating blazes in California, Canada, Europe, and Greece, which resulted in significant destruction, evacuations, and fatalities. If we Google the term crisis, it says a time of intense difficulty or danger, and also a time when a difficult decision must be made. So, when we use the term crisis in conjunction with the word climate, the magnitude intensifies itself, and we have something very serious to ponder on. With fuel emissions galore, rising temperature, rampant extreme weather, natural disasters, leaping sea levels looming over us, seawater intrusions invading the quality of water, and thawing permafrost, the situation does look grim. The sad part is that the awareness regarding the gravity of the situation has not been embedded yet in the minds of many. Some think that the concept of it being termed as a crisis is overrated. Unfortunately, for the ignorance and complacency that we are seeing, the reality is far-fetched. Failing to undertake urgent transformative action to reduce greenhouse gas emissions deeply and rapidly in all sectors will lead to intensifying heat waves, droughts, wildfires, flooding, famines, sea level rise, and more. All ecosystems and the biodiversity they host will be put to risk, as will the lives of more than 3 billion people. I would like to end with the words of John Horgan, President and Science Advisor of the Harvard University. We basically had three choices: mitigation, adaptation, and suffering. The question is what the mix is going to be. The more mitigation we do, the less adaptation will be required, and the less suffering there will be. Thank you.
As we near the climax of the junior category, we have some unfortunate news. Andrea from Reach British School was unable to join us today, so we'll be moving on to our next contender.
Finally, we have Sheikh Zunair from Shining Star International School with the topic, A Climate Crisis, a Ticking Time Bomb for Future Generations.
We are the first generation to feel the impact of climate change and the last generation who can do something about it, said by Barack Obama. These are not mere words. They are a warning, a reminder that time is running out. Because right now, the earth is crying out for help. And while the clock keeps ticking, humanity keeps waiting. The rhythm of time is patient, steady, yet unstoppable. But listen closely. That is not a clock anymore. That is the sound of our planet's heartbeat fading. That is the sound of a time bomb ticking for us. Good morning, one and all. Today, I stand before you not just as a student, not simply as a speaker, but as a voice from a generation that is terrified. Terrified that the future we dream of is slipping beneath our fingers, buried under melting ice caps, burning forests, and voiceless oceans just evaporating away. We are living through the warmest years ever recorded in human history. Sea levels surge higher than scientists once dared to predict. Wildfires devour forests, painting the skies with ash. Glaciers that have endured for years are now puddles of history. And some still have the audacity to say, it's just nature. But tell me, since when did nature start to destroy itself? Since when did the rivers start to run black with oil? Since when did the sky we admired become suffocating veil of smoke? No, this is not nature. This is our doing, and we are the only ones who can fix it. Imagine the children of tomorrow standing before us and questioning, why didn't you stop it when you could? What would we say? We were too busy? We thought someone else was going to fix it for us? Would we tell them that our comfort was more important than their existence? We argue, we deny, we delay. When forests burn in Canada, when the floods engulf the homes in Pakistan, the planet is not just reacting, it is pleading for our help. And what do? Do we listen? Do we act? Or do we simply scroll past yet another disaster numbered by our own convenience? We argue, we deny, we delay. We butcher forests for our convenience, ignite fossil fuels for our comfort, and we pollute oceans for our convenience, not looking at the inconvenience that we cause. Thank you, everyone.
That ends the junior category, and what a spectacular display of confidence from our young oratories. This concludes this junior category, and now to refresh our minds, let's enjoy a mesmerizing Arabic performance presented by our talented students which showcase their heritage and culture.
ألف أهلا ثم سهلا وتحية بضيوف وبجمع وقد تحية ألف أهلا ثم سهلا وتحية بضيوف وبجمع وقد تحية الله 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 أطفال ومواهب تهديكم هدية بخالص التحية معطرة زكية تهدى بالسلام أطفال ومواهب تهديكم هدية بخالص التحية معطرة زكية تهدى بالسلام تهدى بالسلام هي قطرية روضة الروض ندية وغردية نورس الخير شدية وتعالوا نرسم الحب سويا الله 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 تهديكم هدية بخالص التحية معطرة زكية تهدى بالسلام أطفال ومواهب تهديكم هدية بخالص التحية معطرة زكية تهدى بالسلام تهدى بالسلام وصلاة الله تغشى النور طه وسلام طاهر أبدية وتعالوا نرسم الحب سويا الله 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 وصلاة الله تغشى النور طه وسلام طاهر أبدية وتعالوا نرسم الحب سويا الله 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 أطفال ومواهب تهديكم هدية بخالص التحية معطرة زكية تهدى بالسلام أطفال ومواهب تهديكم هدية بخالص التحية معطرة زكية تهدى بالسلام تهدى بالسلام تهدى بالسلام.
Now it's time for the senior category, where experience meets eloquence. Is everyone ready? All right, let's begin.
Let's start the contest with the topics in the senior category. Number 1, not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced. Number 2, the only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing. Number 3, the UAE as a beacon of coexistence in the modern world. As Martin Luther King Jr. said, our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that actually matter. Let's hear from our seniors. Starting off this category, we have Pavani Prasad from Private International English School with the topic, the UAE as a beacon of coexistence in the modern world.
Without tolerance, there can be no peace, no brotherhood, no friendship. This was the belief of the father of our nation, His Highness Sheikh Zayed bin Sultan Al Nahyan. Distinguished judges, respected teachers, and my dear friends, good morning. I am Pavni Prasad Bartake, and today I will be presenting a speech on the topic, UAE as a beacon of coexistence in the modern world. In a world often divided by race, religion, and belief, one nation chose a different path, the path of unity, respect, and shared humanity. When the world seeks a living example of coexistence, it finds the United Arab Emirates shining brightly as the true beacon of harmony. At the heart of human existence lies a simple yet profound question. What does it mean to truly coexist? Is it merely the absence of conflict or the courage to embrace our differences? Is it the silence of tolerance or the music of harmony? Perhaps it's something deeper, like an active recognition that our shared humanity transcends borders, beliefs, and backgrounds. The UAE embodies this very ideal, proving that diversity is not a burden, but a blessing to be celebrated. Right from its birth in 1971, the UAE was built not merely on sand and oil, but on values of tolerance, respect, and unity. In a nation where over 200 nationalities live side by side, the UAE doesn't just tolerate differences, it celebrates them. Of the total population of 11 million people, only 11 to 12% are Emiratis, highlighting the coexistence of a vast expat community. Imagine a tapestry woven from countless threads. Each thread, a culture, a belief, a story forming a vibrant masterpiece. That tapestry is the UAE. Growing up here, I've seen unity lived every day. Streets filled with voices from every corner, churches behind mosques, temples behind gurudwaras, hearts beating as one. With 99% of the people who come here choosing to stay, the UAE stands as one of the world's most loved and safest nations. And here coexistence is found not only amongst people, but with nature too. Masdar city, powered by solar energy and guided by forward thinking, stands as a beautiful example of how innovation and nature can walk hand in hand.
In fact, it also aligns with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, particularly SDG 11, building sustainable cities and communities. Tourism too reflects this harmony, from eco-friendly attractions to breathtakingly beautiful cultural heritage sites. The UAE welcomes the world with open arms while preserving its environment and culture. This was reaffirmed in 2019 through the Year of Tolerance. The Abrahamic family house with a mosque, a church, and a synagogue stands as a beautiful example of interfaith harmony. From Expo 2020's Connecting Minds, Creating the Future, to Global Village's celebration of diversity, the UAE shows that here coexistence is not merely an idea, but a living reality, and it is strengthened by the world's first Ministry of Tolerance. Diverse talents contribute to UAE GDP of over $500 billion, with sectors benefiting from a multicultural workforce. Classrooms nurture global citizens, workplaces merge ideas from various cultures, proving that when minds unite, innovation thrives. As we stand at a crossroads in history, where coexistence is unfortunately often tested, the UAE shines as a guiding light, reminding us that diversity does not divide, it defines. Though our backgrounds may differ, our dreams for peace and unity remain the same. So let us embed this legacy within us and create a world where compassion leads the way. With the world our canvas and the peace our art, let unity guide both mind and heart. In every hand let kindness play, and coexistence lead the way as UAE has done every single day. Thank you.
Proceeding, we have Grace Maria from Sunrise English Private School with the topic, The Only True Wisdom is in Knowing You Know Nothing.
Have you ever met someone who claims to know everything? You ask them a question, and before you finish, they already have the answer. They never pause, never thinks, never doubts. Sounds confident, right? But tell me, can someone who already knows everything ever learn anything new? Because that's where the secret of true wisdom begins. Not in knowing more, but in realizing how little we truly know. Good morning, respected judges, teachers, my fellow friends. Today, I am Grace Maria Manoj, here to speak on a truth that is as simple and profound that says, the greatest wisdom is in knowing that you don't know everything. They say knowledge is power. But what if I told you the real power lies in admitting that you don't know everything? Socrates, the great philosopher, once said those words. And at first, it sounds strange, doesn't it? How can someone not knowing anything possibly make you wiser? But that, my friends, is the beginning of wisdom. When we think we don't know everything, when we think we know everything, we stop listening, we stop questioning, and worst of all, we stop growing. And that stops new ideas entering into your mind. But a mind that is willing to admit, I don't know, it's like an open window, curious, inviting, alive. Think about it. Every great discovery began with someone who questioned, who didn't know. Newton didn't know why the apple fell, so he asked why. Einstein, he didn't know what time truly was, so he redefined it. And Socrates, he didn't pretend to know the truth. He went searching for it. And that is what separates the wise from the clever. The clever man, he speaks to impress. But the wise man, he listens to understand. And so, when we look at it, we live in a world that rewards certainty. Everyone wants to be right. Everyone wants to have the last word. But the loudest voice in the room is not always the right one. The ones who always listen, they are the ones with true wisdom. Because true wisdom is quiet, it's humble, it whispers, teach me, instead of shouting, I already know. We live in a world where information is everywhere. In our screens, our phones, our fingertips, we scroll, we click, we memorize, but wisdom is not in the scrolling. It's in the slowing down. It's in the understanding. Knowledge gives us answers, but the one that helps us to ask right questions is wisdom. And sometimes when we admit, I don't know, it takes way more courage than it takes to pretend. So, I don't know, it's not ignorance, it's curiosity. I don't know, it's not learning, it's the beginning of wisdom. I don't know is not defeat. It's the first step towards victory. Socrates understood this. So he walked the streets of Athens, reminding everyone that wisdom is not about knowing everything. It's about what's undiscovered. It's about what you have to learn. And isn't that amazing that we can live our whole lives learning, discovering, evolving? So, yes, the only true wisdom is in knowing that you don't know everything. Thank you.
Onwards, we have Marana, Gab, and Matthew from GEMS United Indian School with the topic, The Only True Wisdom is in Knowing You Know Nothing.
When I was 7, I had a dream. Not one as ambitious as Martin Luther King, but it was a dream special to me. And that was to become an astronomer. Now, one might assume that I was in that phase in everyone's childhood where they're all obsessed with anything and everything about space. And yes, I was. I would even wonder, rather pompously, I admit, that was this exactly how Galileo Galilei felt while putting together the first telescope? I devoured encyclopedia after encyclopedia. Anyone brought up the planets, I would immediately rise and recite that well-known acronym like clockwork. My very educated mother just served us 9 pizzas. I love pizza. But I was under the assumption that this was the accurate lineup of all the planets and was well suited to the spastic memory of a young child. However, one of these planets is not like the others. In fact, it wasn't even a planet at all. Ah yes, good old Pluto. In fact, Pluto was my favorite planet out of the bunch. So, under that assumption, in school, when we were learning about the solar system for the first time, my teacher posed a question to the class. Has anyone heard of the planets? I obviously raised my hand and, in fact, flaunted that I could even recite them by heart. A whisper of amazement was brewing behind me, and the teacher said, "Go right ahead." I got up, recited the list, and sat back down with an air of superiority. But the teacher still had a puzzled face. She stared me dead in the eye, and she goes, "Pluto's not a planet anymore." I was in shock. I think I quite literally froze in amazement. What did she mean Pluto wasn't a planet anymore? Was I not cut out to be an astronomer? And worst of all, I was wrong. When I went home that day, I didn't cry. Well, maybe I did. But instead, I didn't throw out all of my books about space either. Instead, I flipped through them, stared at the diagrams, and looked at the gap where Pluto supposedly spun, and wondered why. Why isn't Pluto a planet anymore? What makes a planet a planet? And who can say otherwise? So, I set out on a quest to find answers to my questions. But for the first time ever, I realized I wasn't just knowing, I was learning. And that's the power in learning something new. We often wonder, I was under the guise of an incorrect assumption, but I truly believed at the end of the day when knowledge would shine through. We all want to be the smartest person in the room. It can even be in the small corner of our bedroom where we memorized a few facts about the solar system. But when that illusion of knowing something fades away and we realize that there's so much more to know in the world, we start asking better questions. Why do stars twinkle? Why isn't the earth flat? We stop trying to act smart and instead start being curious. And it's that very spirit of curiosity that gives us the courage to admit we don't know something. And the wisdom isn't carved in stone, but rather written in water. Real wisdom doesn't lie in the answers we think we know. It lies in the answers to the questions that are hard to ask. And it lies in the willingness to admit, hey, I don't know something, but I want to know. And maybe that's what that truly means, to know something. The never-ending ability to want to know more. Thank you.
Next, we have Abdullah Azim from Islamia English School with the topic, The Only True Wisdom is in Knowing You Know Nothing.
The fool will claim, I know it all. The wise will pause and doubt their call. For minds that question, hearts that seek, are those through whom the truth will speak? Good morning, one and all. Today, I'll be speaking on the topic, the only true wisdom is in knowing that you know nothing. We spend so much of our lives trying to know everything, memorizing facts, chasing grades, collecting diplomas, like we're stacking bricks to build some tower tall enough to reach the sky of understanding. But maybe that sky was never meant to be touched. Maybe it was meant to be reflected in our eyes when we look up, amazed and humbled. Have you ever met someone who speaks like they've got life all figured out? No space for anyone else's voice? Sometimes, if we're honest, that person is us. You see, we live in a world where everyone wants to be right. We scroll through social media, posting our opinions, arguing in the comments section, shouting our truths into the noise. But as Socrates had once said, the only true wisdom is in knowing that you know nothing. Now, he didn't say this to sound clever. He said this to remind us that true wisdom begins where pride ends. To all my friends out here, I question you. Think about it. When was the last time we said, I don't know, and actually meant it? Not in defeat, but in curiosity. When was the last time we actually tried to listen and learn instead of trying to win some pointless argument? And science agrees with Socrates. As a matter of fact, psychologists David Dunning and Justin Kruger have found that those who know little often think they know a lot, while those who know much realize how much they still don't. That's called the Dunning-Kruger effect, a fancy way of saying the smarter you are, the more you see how big the universe of ignorance really is. We've built a world that worships answers. We ask ChatGPT, we Google it, we ask Siri. We want instant solutions. But wisdom? Wisdom doesn't live in instant answers. It lives in quiet questions. You see, wisdom isn't loud. It doesn't need to prove anything. It sits quietly in the back of the room, observing, learning, waiting for the right moment to say, maybe, just maybe, there is yet another way. Take Albert Einstein, one of the greatest minds in history. He once said, the more I learn, the more I realize how much I still don't know. Despite revolutionizing physics, he stayed humble. He treated every mystery like a doorway, not a dead end, but a doorway. Or take Nelson Mandela. After spending 27 dreadful years in prison, he came out not bitter, but wiser. Mandela once said, "I never lose. I either win or I learn." Mandela taught us that wisdom isn't born from pride, but reflection, from choosing to listen, to learn, to forgive, to keep going even after the world breaks you. And the truth is, every great discovery began this way. Not with confidence, but with curiosity. They all began with the courage to say, "I might just be wrong." Marie Curie questioned what others ignored. The Wright brothers doubted the impossible, and even Steve Jobs once said, "Stay hungry, stay foolish," because he knew that this hunger to keep going is what fuels progress. So maybe wisdom isn't about being the smartest person in the room. It's about being the most open-minded. It's about looking at the vast sky of knowledge and realizing we're not here to own it, but to explore it. So tonight, as the moonlight slowly slips through our windows, let's not forget that wisdom isn't loud. It doesn't boast. It doesn't shout. It whispers. It sits quietly at the edge of what we think we know, smiles and says, "Think again." Because the moment we stop pretending to know everything is the moment we start truly learning something. That's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Next, we have Minahil Gul from Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed Arab Pakistan School with the topic, "Not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced."
Do you hear that? That's time slipping away, seconds after seconds. The world keeps moving while so many of us remain tied down by the knots of fear, silence, and denial. We keep pulling, twisting, struggling, but the knots, they never open. That's because we spend all our strength fighting the rope instead of facing the knots. My hands are chained to comfort and fear. I struggle, but I stay stuck, afraid to confront what binds me. The chains may not break instantly, but the struggle begins only when we face them. I look in the mirror, fractured, distorted, full of mistakes I can't ignore. I want to turn away and pretend that I'm whole, I'm fine. But isn't that what life is? A series of knots. Some we can untie, and some we simply learn to carry. Not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing is changed until it is faced. There are moments in human history when silence becomes a sin, when turning away is not safety, it is surrender. We live in a world obsessed with comfort, where truth is edited, injustice ignored, and pain is politely disguised. How often do we turn away? We see pain and whisper, "It's not my problem." We see injustice and sigh, "Isn't that how the world is?" There are moments in human history when all this becomes sin. Now, not everything can be changed. You cannot bring back a lost loved one. You can't rewind a moment you regret. When Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in the prison, he couldn't change those years, but he faced them. When Greta Thunberg, a single teenage girl, stood outside the parliament with cardboard sign reading, "School strike for climate change," the world laughed at her. But Greta did not. She faced the politics, the mockings, the disbelief. And because she faced it, millions followed her voice. And then there was Rosa Parks, a quiet woman who refused to give up her seat on the bus. A simple act, yet a radical defiance. And then there was Malala Yousafzai, a child who dared to learn. The world told her, "Be silent, be invisible." She faced the gun that was meant to erase her, and instead she became the voice for millions who remained silent for too long. These are not stories of some saints. These are stories of normal human beings like you and like me who did not give up. They did not change everything, but they did change something. And that something completely changed the course of history. Now, there are moments in human history when you need to stand up for yourself. For example, when Galileo faced the church, the stars found their freedom. When Martin Luther faced hatred, a dream found its wings. And when you face what frightens you the most, the world too will begin to move. Pretending the wound isn't there doesn't heal it. Ignoring the mirror doesn't erase the reflection. And silence is not peace, it is surrender. Some things can't be changed. We cannot undo the past. We cannot cure every cruelty. We cannot command the world to be kind. But yes, Your Honor, nothing, no oppression, no hatred, nothing can be changed until it is faced. Lastly, I would like to say that though not everything that is faced can be changed, every truth spoken, every fear stared down, every trembling voice that refused to bow, every courage that you face allows you to change the world. Because the universe does not bend for the blind. It bends for the brave. So face it. Face the storm. Face the fire. Face the chains. Face the rope. Because nothing, I repeat, nothing changes until it is faced. Thank you.
It's not what you say, but how you say it. That's what people remember. Onwards, we have Muhammad Saad Mughal from Al Nahda National School's boys with the topic, The Only True Wisdom is in Knowing You Know Nothing.
Before stars were named, before science found wisdom, before science found reason, before the first philosopher dared to think, there existed a question. This question was older than language, sharper than certainty, and asked by both philosophers and thinkers alike. But what was it? Any guesses? Why? Why do we exist? Why does this universe expand faster than our calculations? Why did this paper drop? Why? Why does the fact that curiosity burn brighter than certainty? Well, because, like you and I think curiosity is not an ornament of the mind, no. Curiosity is instinct. Curiosity is inheritance. Curiosity is human. And no one embodied this better than the man who spent his entire life asking the question, why? Socrates. He didn't wander Athens seeking answers, no. He wandered seeking the people who thought they had answers, and he questioned them. One after another, poets, philosophers, politicians, he questioned them. He defeated them, not by raising his voice like me. He questioned them. He never claimed to know more than them. He claimed, and he revealed that they knew less than they actually knew. And thus, his victory was not a victory of domination. No, it was a victory of revelation. Even after triumph, even after winning, Socrates had a frustration in him. Like even after exposing illusion and false knowledge, he realized something that was heavier than ignorance. What was it? What was that? The fact that the brightest minds in the universe will never be able to fathom the essence of knowledge. Why? Why? Because knowledge expands as time passes. Knowing this, Socrates said, I don't know anything. I am open to knowledge. And that is my true power. These are, ladies and gentlemen, respected chair, distinguished audience, these are not words of defeat. This is clarity. This is the birth of wisdom. Science proves this fact. When we dissect our skies and galaxies, we realize 95% of the universe is unexplorable. It is something we cannot see. Why? Dark energy, dark matter, this is something we cannot access. We cannot have it. Moving on to mathematics, the language of the universe, so precise, so accurate. It promised us certainty, but then we got introduced to infinity. No final understanding, no final end point, just confusion. Moving on, we realize from all of this the fact that when we explore the unknown, we do not shrink it, we expand it. Moving on to the intellects of our time. Marie Curie, she discovered radioactivity, won the Nobel Prize in both physics and chemistry. The world applauded her, they cheered for her, they loved her, but in response, she bowed. What? Wasn't she prideful? No, because she knew. Wisdom doesn't lie in knowing, it lies in understanding there is much more to be known. Moving on, Richard Feynman, the glorified physicist, he himself said, I would rather live not knowing, but I cannot live without exploring, understanding. This is the love for inquiry. This is the love for questioning. What can we assume from this? The fact that true wisdom does not lie in knowing everything. It lies in understanding that there is much more to be known. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not here to make conclusions. I'm here to remind you. Humans, they search because we search because we lack. We explore because we don't possess. We question because we are unfinished. And so I would like to end that Socrates was right. True wisdom does lie in not knowing. It lies in knowing that there is so much to be known. More. I would like to end with this quote from Al Harrison speaking to his geniuses, his philosophers, and telling them, look beyond the numbers. Look around them. Look through them. For answers to equations we don't know yet. For something, for maths that's not yet formed. Because without it, frankly, we're not going anywhere. We're not reaching the moon. We're not going to the stars. We're not orbiting the earth. And especially for those people, for the intellects, they're already there by questioning. Are you? Thank you.
Proceeding, we have Alina Mushtaq Ahmed from Dunes International School with the topic, Not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced.
Have you ever felt your heart race, your palms sweat, and your voice tremble, all because you had to speak in front of an audience? Good morning to one and all present here, and my name is Alina Ahmed. I'm sure we all have faced challenges and problems that have blocked our path to success. As for me, that blockage was my anxiety and stress during public speaking. But I wouldn't be standing here today in front of you if I hadn't made a choice to face that fear. Not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced. This is a beautiful quote by the author James Baldwin, which teaches us one of life's most important lessons, that when we face a problem, there is a slight chance of getting a solution, but not facing it guarantees defeat. Many of us wish that all our problems would just vanish, that life would hand us a remote control, and with one click, all our worries, pain, and fear would disappear. But unfortunately, life doesn't work like that. Problems can't just vanish. They have to be vanquished. Now, let's take a look at the first part of this quote. Not everything that is faced can be changed. This is the harsh truth. Sometimes we come across challenges that cannot be changed overnight. We can't turn back time, erase pain, or undo our past mistakes. We can't bring back those who we have lost, nor can we change every wrong decision. Facing a problem doesn't guarantee a solution, but not facing it guarantees defeat. Though this does not mean that facing something is pointless. Sometimes facing a problem, acknowledging it, and learning from it are the first steps towards peace. For example, if someone has lost something or someone that they love, they can't fix this problem. But by facing their grief, instead of running away from it, they begin to heal. Now, for the second part. Nothing can be changed until it is faced. Think of all the fears and the bad habits that you want to get rid of. It could be something as simple as procrastinating your work until the very last minute. The truth is, these things won't change until you decide to face them directly. This doesn't mean that you will instantly win, but it means you are no longer hiding. And that in itself changes everything. Take me, for example. There used to be a time when the prospect of standing in front of an audience and delivering a speech made my hands tremble with nervousness. But I decided to change that, step by step and speech by speech. And though I still do get nervous, I'm no longer controlled by it. This is what facing something does. It transforms your fear into strength. Consider history too. If people hadn't faced the injustices that they did, our world would have been stuck exactly where it was. Martin Luther King Jr. faced racial discrimination. Malala Yousafzai fought for girls' education, and Greta Thunberg faced the reality of climate change. If these people hadn't faced these challenges, nothing would have changed. Nothing could have changed. Progress only begins when someone dares to face the challenges that everyone else avoids. Even in the smallest ways, this applies to us. When we stand up to a bully, when we fight for what is right, and when we apologize for our mistakes, we are creating change. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It is the decision to keep moving forward despite it. So, as I stand here, once that anxious girl who was afraid of speaking, I am proof that facing your fears can change anything. So let us remember to face our fears, our faults, and our failures, because without facing them, we cannot change them. Thank you.
Unfortunately, Tami bin Abdul Fateh could not join us, so we'll be moving on. As Oprah Winfrey said, "What I know for sure is that speaking your truth is the most powerful tool we have." Next, we have Bernice Christopher from Bright Riders School, Abu Dhabi, with the topic, "Not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced."
Respected judges and esteemed audience, a very good morning to you. Have any of you ever noticed how easy it is to look away from problems, to pretend they don't exist, or hope they'll just fix themselves, or even maybe just be a fatalist? A famous quote penned by James Baldwin in an essay in the New York Times Book Review states that not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced. Let me illustrate this by sharing a small story. A man visiting an elephant camp was perplexed to see that these huge animals were being held captive with a small rope tied to their leg. He couldn't for the life of him understand why such a strong animal was not breaking free. He went and asked the trainer the question that was boggling him, and was informed that from the time they are born, they are tied with a rope. When they are small, the rope is strong enough to restrain them, as they cannot break it. And as they grow up, they are so conditioned to thinking that they cannot break the rope that they do not even try and spend their entire lives in captivity when freedom was always within their reach. I am sure that, like the elephants in my illustration, all of us have at some point or the other gotten so conditioned to our problems and not sought out solutions. Here is where we see the relevance of James Baldwin's quote. The first part of the quote acknowledges the pragmatic reality that not everything in life is in human hands or under human control to alter the course of it instantly. Oftentimes, there are many problems that may seem insurmountable, and there may be no quick fixes. Some problems, like systemic inequalities or climate crisis, are too vast and complex to be solved quickly. Even many personal problems may not be resolved easily. However, burying our heads in the sand and lifting our hands in surrender is not how the problem needs to be approached. Simply because we do not see a solution, we cannot have an escapist mentality. Change can only start with acknowledgement of the issue at hand. Baldwin's words challenge us to truly face the complex problems that confront us. While facing difficult truths can be uncomfortable. It is the first essential step towards change. Awareness itself is a form of action and a precursor to change. Acknowledging and facing the issue alone can lead to action, even if it is small at first. It is these first small steps that gradually evolve into a change in mindset, a new strategy, or even a revolutionary movement. History is filled with examples of daring men and women who have faced seemingly impossible challenges but have left an indelible mark in society by boldly facing the problems and accepting solutions. Many names come to mind: Raja Ramohan Roy, Pandita Ramabai, Nelson Mandela, Malala Yousaf, Greta Thunberg, Mahatma Gandhiji, Helen Keller, Stephen Hawking, to name a few. Truly, these real-life heroes have proved the quote penned by Baldwin: "Not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced." To conclude, these words of Baldwin challenge us to stop being reticent in facing anything that seems impossible to change, but by acknowledging and facing the issue at hand with fortitude and clarity will result in desirous changes. In the words of John Wooden, "Do not let what you cannot do interfere with what you can do." Thank you.
Finally, we have Julia Jerry from Shining Star International School with the topic, "The only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing." Come on, everyone, show some energy.
The only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing. Good morning, esteemed judges, honorable teachers, and my dear friends. Socrates spoke these words not as a man defeated by purpose, but as one liberated by the realization that the pursuit of truth is endless. These immortal words echo across corridors of time, not as a confession of ignorance, but as a luminous testament to humility. Humility gave him the power to think deeply, to challenge others, and to inspire generations upon generations to seek truth rather than pretend to possess it. But what does it mean to know nothing? Can one truly grasp the essence of life while acknowledging the vast ocean of ignorance within? Is wisdom the accumulation of facts? Or is it the courage to confront the limits of our understanding? How can wisdom emerge from the absence of knowledge? Socrates did not exalt ignorance. He extolled awareness. That stark, humbling recognition that our knowledge is infinitesimal against the vastness of truth. The instant we succumb to the illusion of omniscience, our minds ossify. When we believe we know it all, do we not imprison ourselves in the walls of certainty, constructing impenetrable walls, barricading ourselves against new ideas, dissenting perspectives, and subtle provocations that nurture intellectual growth? And yet, when we admit, "I do not know," do we not open up ourselves to infinite possibility? An individual who confesses, "My knowledge is incomplete," remains perpetually inquisitive, perpetually evolving, and perpetually learning. For true wisdom does not declare, "I know." It gently murmurs, "Teach me more." Every monumental discovery began not with an answer, but with a question. Did Newton discover gravity because he had all the answers? Or because he dared to ask, "Why does the apple fall?" Did Einstein unravel the mysteries of relativity because he assumed truth? Or because he wondered, "What if time bends?" And what of children, the purest seekers of knowledge, who ask why ceaselessly with untamed curiosity? Are they not wiser than a learned adult simply because they can question without fear? Curiosity, not arrogance, is the crucible of wisdom. When Socrates professed that he knew nothing, he didn't imply emptiness. He signaled openness. Openness to truth, openness to correction, openness to transformation. And this very openness transformed him into one of the most sagacious minds to ever grace our world. He questioned poets, politicians, and scholars, not to shame, but to awaken, not to diminish, but to illuminate. How often have we disregarded advice only to later recognize its vitality? That quiet sting of realization, that humbling moment of growth, that is precisely what Socrates meant. For wisdom does not germinate within certainty, it blossoms within wonder. And in our contemporary age, this ancient judgment is urgent beyond measure. We live in a world saturated with information, yet heavily starved of understanding. How often have we sent out a bunch of posts, arguments, and proclamations with untinged conviction? How often do we pause and ask ourselves, could I be mistaken? Real wisdom isn't the loudest voice in the room. It resides in the quiet fortitude of those who listen, even amid discord. It's in the humility to say, I never considered that perspective. And in the humility to admit that I do not know, please enlighten me. Socrates was condemned for questioning too much, but perhaps that's the highest tribute a human being can ever receive. Each time we confront the limits of our understanding, do we not stretch them further? The measure of wisdom is not found in the breadth of what we know, but in the depth of our desire to learn. That's what makes us human. It's also worthy to note that an unexamined life is not worth living. Thank you.
That was truly thought-provoking. Now let's take a short creative break with an eye-catching English performance, beautifully prepared by our shining stars. I expect all of you to show more energy and hype this crowd up.
Please.
I messed up tonight. I lost another fight. I still mess up, but I'll just start again. I keep falling down. I keep on hitting the ground. But I always get up now to see what's next. Birds don't just fly, they fall down and get up. Nobody learns without getting it wrong. I won't give up, no, I won't give in till I reach the end, and then I'll start again. No, I won't leave. I wanna try everything. I wanna try even though I could fail. I won't give up, no, I won't give in till I reach the end, and then I'll start again. No, I won't leave. I wanna try everything. I wanna try even though I could fail. Try everything. Try everything. Try everything. Look how far you've come. You filled your heart with love. Baby, you've done enough. Take a deep breath. Don't beat yourself up. No need to run so fast. Sometimes we come last, but we get our best. I won't give up. No, I won't give in till I reach the end, and then I'll start again. No, I won't leave. I wanna try everything. I wanna try even though I could fail. I won't give up. No, I won't give in till I reach the end, and then I'll start again. No, I won't leave. I wanna try everything. I wanna try even though I could fail. I'll keep on making those new mistakes. I'll keep on making them every day. Those new mistakes. Try everything. Try everything. Try everything. Try everything.
Amazing performance. And now, as we celebrate the power of words today, we also celebrate a golden milestone for our school. 50 years of IES, a journey of excellence, learning, and legacy.
Let's take a moment to honor this Golden Jubilee celebration through a short presentation guided by Mehroush Uzaid from 5C, showcasing how our school has grown over the years.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Esteemed Chairperson of the Board of Directors, Madam Khatija Darwesh bin Karam Al-Kubaisi, worthy Principal Dr. D.A. Nazar, respected IES dignitaries, dear guest team, teachers, and my dear friends, Assalamu alaikum. I am Mehroush Uzair from grade 5C, and I feel honored to stand before you and speak on a wonderful occasion, the Golden Jubilee celebration of Islamia English School. Honoring the past and inspiring the future, a Golden Jubilee marks 50 years of excellence and achievement. The word Jubilee means a special celebration for an important milestone, while the word golden means something valuable and precious, just like the 50 years of our school. The Islamia English School's founding father, do you know who he is? He is the esteemed Darwesh bin Karam Abdullah Al-Kubaisi, who founded the school in 1978. His vision was to provide affordable education for the subcontinent community rooted in Islamic values. Today, his family proudly continues his legacy, upholding the mission of trust and service. The founding of Islamia English School in 1978, a vision takes its shape. The esteemed Darwesh bin Karam Abdullah Al-Kubaisi realized the need of a high-quality, affordable school in Abu Dhabi for Muslim expatriate families. With the help of the late His Highness Sheikh Zayed bin Sultan Al Nahyan, the school was established and started as a small Islamic center, guided by devoted scholars and educators. The Al-Kubaisi family legacy, upholding trust. After the passing of the Darwesh bin Karam Abdullah Al-Kubaisi, his daughter Khatija Darwesh bin Karam Al-Kubaisi assumed leadership of the school. She remains dedicated to her father's vision by providing high-quality, value-based education. Under her guidance, the school now runs as a private, non-profit organization true to its founding values. The first campus in 1984. Building on its humble beginnings 6 years later, the school moved from a portable caravan to a permanent campus. This marked a major milestone, strengthening its foundation and commitment to providing high-quality, value-based education. The academic growth in the 1980s to the present, a tradition of excellence. Continuing on its progress, Islamia English School adopted the British national curriculum, ensuring a strong and globally recognized academic foundation. With the accreditation from Edexcel and Cambridge for IGCSE and A-levels program, the school balances its international standards while its core focus on Islamic and Arabic values, making Islamic studies, Arabic and social studies integral to every student's learning. The recent years in the 2000s to the present, growth and modernization. Continuing the Al-Kubaisi family legacy, the school now serves over 2,000 students from more than 27 nationalities. Moving from modern labs to libraries, to sports facilities and initiatives like a Quran memorization center and sound room for the visually impaired and establishment of clubs. Islamia English School proudly earned ADEX and National Identity Program's good rating, symbolizing its strong cultural roots, wonderful teaching, and commitment to every student's success. High Performance Learning, or HPL, is also a hallmark of Islamia English School. It fosters high-performing, confident, and future-ready learners. It perfectly and proudly blends with tradition and progress. Finally, the Golden Jubilee celebration, celebrating 50 years of achievement and excellence. The 2028 academic year will mark 50 years of Islamia English School. This milestone will celebrate the school's rich history, community contributions, and ongoing commitment to providing high-quality, value-based education. I would like to conclude my presentation with the words once said by the great Nelson Mandela. Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. Before this beautiful ceremony ends, I would request you to take a glimpse on a short video for Islamia English School's remarkable journey. Long live Islamia English School and long live United Arab Emirates. Have a wonderful day ahead. Thank you.
And now the moment of truth. The results are ready. Let's invite Miss Sadia Isar to announce the winners of today's competition.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Good morning and assalamu alaikum everyone. Today we have witnessed surprising, mesmerizing performances under this roof. All the participants, they performed really, really well. Ladies and gentlemen, that moment came. We have been waiting for the announcement of the results. Our esteemed judges, they have given their decision. Result is in my hand, and indeed, it was a very tough competition, very tight. Do you want result today or tomorrow shall we announce? Well, before that, I want that everybody must appreciate the participants. A big round of applause for them. Yes, true. Their mentors too, those who have prepared them. Big round of applause. For that, we request our Honorable Principal, Mr. D.A. Nazar, our Vice Principal, Mr. Ahmad Rahman, our Vice Principal, Ms. Naz Hussain, and Mr. Afifi, please join us on the stage. We will start with the junior category. Be patient. A little more patience. In the junior category, we'll start with the third position, and the third position goes to Anushka Sinu, Sunrise English Private School. Congratulations. Now, second position. Okay, just guess who? Let me tell you. Sayyida Iman Fatima, Islamia English School. Congratulations, Iman. Could you guess who got the first position? In the junior category? Let me tell you, the first position, Muhammad Walid Javed, Sheikh Khalifa bin Zaid Arab Pakistani School. Congratulations. Now, senior category. Really tough competition, really. And for third position, is your heartbeat in control? No? The third position goes to Pavani Prasad. Congratulations. Audience, give them big round of applause. It's a big achievement. Are you tired? No. A few more minutes. Now, second position, any guess? Yes, carry on. The second position we have Grace Maria from Sunrise English Private School. Congratulations. And first position of the senior category of this contest. What do you think? Who would get it? So the first position goes to Abdullah Azim Islamia English School. Well done, Abdullah. Congratulations. Now we have certificates for all the participants. Ryan Hafiz, Private International School. Muhammad Wali Javed. Anushka Sinu. Nisha Hatesh. Saida Iman Fatima. Ara Anaya. Amazing. And Rishan Kurwela. Now senior category. Pavani Prasad. Mirana Gabin Matthew. Grace Maria. Abdullah Azim. Minahil Gul. Muhammad Saad Mughal. Alina Mushtaq Ahmed. And Bernice Christopher. Now our presenters. Kareeb, Muhammad Kareeb. And Ibrahim. Thank you very much for your hard work and for your efforts. Now we request our judges, please join us one by one on the stage, please. Judges, thanks a lot. We know it's a very, very tough job. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, ma'am, for your inspiring words. To formally express our gratitude to everyone who made today's event possible, I now call upon Muhammad Kareeb for a vote of thanks.
I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to everyone who have made this inter-school declamation contest a great success. First and foremost, a special thanks to our respected chairperson, Madam Khadija Darwish bin Karam Al-Kubaisi, for her continuous support and encouragement in providing our students such a wonderful platform to showcase their talents. Our sincere appreciation also goes to our esteemed principal, Dr. D.A. Nazar, for his constant guidance and motivation. A big thank you to all the teachers who trained and prepared the participants passionately, and the administrative team for their excellent arrangements. We are equally grateful to all the teachers on duty for their cooperation and commitment throughout the event. Lastly, I thank you all the participants with their confidence and effort. Each one of you made today truly memorable. Give them a big round of applause. On behalf of my heart, I really express my gratitude. Thank you, everyone.
Let's conclude our program by seeking Allah's blessing for continued success, unity, and peace. We request Ahmad Yasir to lead us in dua.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين اللهم لك الحمد على نعمة العلم والفهم نحمدك على أن جمعتنا في هذا اليوم لنتعلم ونتدبر اللهم افتح لنا أبواب الحكمة وانشر علينا رحمتك وزينا بزينة العلم والأدب اللهم ارزقنا علما نافعا وقلبا خاشعا ونفسا مطمئنة ورزقا واسعا يا رب العالمين اللهم جنبنا علما لا ينفع وقلبا لا يخشع وعينا لا تدمع اللهم بارك لنا في معلمينا ووالدينا واجعلهم مفتاحا للخير وسببا للنور والهداية اللهم وفقنا للنجاح في دنيانا وآخرتنا واجعلنا ممن ترضى عنهم وتكرمهم بعلم وعمل صالح آمين يا رب العالمين